Be silent. They are the eye that sleepeth not. Mention their name again, and they will appear. And when they do, death will be the least of your worries. We are all sinners here, even the pure. From Harker Dune, a forge laborer. The Inquisition is immensely powerful, and the only individual that is exempt from its scrutiny is the Emperor himself. If he has good cause, an Inquisitor may demand any service from any Imperial citizen, up to and including the High Lords of Terra. The Adeptus Custodes who guard the Emperor's palace in person are exempt from conscription, because their duty to the Emperor is clear and unchanging. When it comes to the Adeptus Astartes, Inquisitors often show some discretion, as Space Marine chapters are often willing to come to blood over any infringement on their Emperor-granted autonomy. However, not even they are immune from the Inquisition's scrutiny and justice, and entire worlds have been destroyed in order to cleanse them if they were deemed traitorous. Inquisitors also have absolute power to judge and execute supposed heretics, mutants, unsanctioned or rogue psychers, and the like, with no appeal save the intervention of another Inquisitor. Practically, all possible verdicts are death sentences, although the means by which they are achieved do differ. Traitors, the worst grade of offenders, are considered irredeemable and will be quickly executed. Heretics may be redeemed, often after considerable amounts of torture, and may even receive absolution through death in service to the Imperium. This service may consist of arco-flagellation, conscription into Imperial armies, becoming the operator of one of the Adeptus Ministerum's penitent engines, or, in the case of penitent psychers, being sent to Holy Terra to become new psychic fuel for the Golden Throne and the Astronomicon. Certain traitors deemed useful to the Inquisition may, in extremely rare cases, be mind-scrubbed, their old memories and identity erased and replaced with one loyal to the Inquisition. If it is beyond their means to track down and kill a particular individual or organization, an Inquisitor can simply declare the offending entity excommunicate traitoris, stripping them of whatever rights they may have had, and as such, marking them as a target fit for extermination by any and all loyal servants of the Emperor. If he deems it necessary, he or she can attach an official stigma to a dangerous heretic, traitor, or alien species. Each of the major ordos has a different official stigma, which pertains to their primary enemies. These stigmata include the Extremis Diabolis for the Ordo Maleus, the Xenos Horrificus for the Ordo Xenos, and the Hereticus Abomini for the Ordo Hereticus. The Inquisition will also use its delegated power from the High Lords of Terra to declare tainted Space Marine chapters or other renegade Imperial military units or individuals excommunicate traitores. The chapter or unit marked will then usually be hunted down by the Grey Knights or the Sisters of Battle, usually resulting in the chapter fleeing to the Eye of Terra or the Maelstrom, if it has not already done so, of course. The Soul Drinkers chapter was an exception, as they still believed themselves to be loyal servants of the Emperor, and continued to defend the Imperium until their destruction, even though they were no longer part of it. Young Psykers who have not worked against the Imperium or used their powers much will usually be repeatedly tested, and if they are young, strong and pious enough, may be taken in by the black ships of the Inquisition to become a sanctioned Psyker, or even an Inquisitor, if their abilities are strong enough. The requirements are strict, and many will be found wanting. Those that fail the Inquisition's tests will either be executed or used to power the vast psychic beacon of the Astronomicon, their lives sacrificed for the ultimate good of mankind to sustain the golden throne which keeps the Emperor alive. I will now explain the two major powers the Inquisitors wield. First, the Exterminatus, my favorite. If a world is the subject of extreme corruption by chaos, or a xenos infestation like that of a gene stealer cult, an Inquisitor may call down the verdict of Exterminatus, destroying all ecosystems on the planet and rendering the world completely lifeless. Many question the necessity of such acts, but the Inquisition feels fully justified in performing them. They feel that it is better for countless servants of the Emperor to be sacrificed than let a single heretic escape their wrath to endanger even more lives. Typically though, such an act is reserved for only the most extreme cases, such as a massive outbreak of chaos activity that threatens to corrupt other worlds, or unchecked infiltration by gene stealer cults that precede or can cause a Tyranid invasion that will consume an entire sector. And of course, excommunication. An Inquisitor has the power to declare an individual, or sometimes an organization or planet, as excommunicate traitores. This declaration excommunicates the accused from the human race, and is an indication to other Inquisitors and Adepta that the excommunicate party should be hunted down and killed for the good of the Imperium. Inquisitorial conclaves are often the venue for declaring excommunications, and in extreme circumstances, even a fellow Inquisitor can be branded so. Excommunication is never done lightly, but is a principal weapon of the Inquisition, and one of the ways its authority can be used to protect the Imperium. Imperial secrecy. These demons, they hate us with a malevolence and intensity beyond words. It is their nature, their purpose to worm their way through the skin of reality and unleash horror upon our realm. Yet just as they are but puppets of their dark masters, so they can also act as puppeteers. They take the minds and souls of potent psykers, brave warriors, cunning generals and devoted healers, and they twist all that might benefit humanity. Their poison spreads until the Imperium's greatest champions become instead its most terrible foes. Chaos peers into the collective human soul and uses what it finds to turn us against ourselves. That, Acolyte, is why it is the greatest danger we face. From Inquisitor Locus Precht. To protect its citizens from the insidious temptations of chaos, the Imperium of Man long did its best to hide the existence of the Chaos Gods, demons, and the Chaos Space Marines from public knowledge. Only certain Space Marines, sanctioned psychers, and the members of the Inquisition were permitted to know the Imperium's darkest secret. It was long inquisitorial policy to mind-wipe even members of the Adeptus Astartes, including entire chapters in some cases, after exposure to the demonic. All others are either put to death after exposure to the reality of chaos to protect the Imperium from their possible corruption, or if they have been a valuable servant to the Imperium, they are allowed to live, but required to undergo memory modification or even in extreme cases, a mind wipe. This is a policy that has been in place since before the Emperor of Mankind was interred within the Golden Throne, when only he and his Primarchs knew that the warp contained intelligent entities capable of possessing individuals in real space. But even the Emperor did not reveal to his Primarchs during the Great Crusade the full truth that the warp was not just a seething cauldron of psychic energies inhabited by entities similar to xenos, but was actually populated by malign intelligences akin to the supernatural beings of ancient human myth and superstition. He chose not to explain that the Imperium was dominated by the Ruiners' powers and their demonic servants, for fear that this knowledge alone would lead to many of the Primarchs to take actions that would lead to their corruption. To fight a demon army is to fight a twisting tornado of unreason and despair that forever changes those who must confront its horror. As such, the Imperium believes that it cannot allow the knowledge that such foes actually exist to spread, since even the simple knowledge of Chaos's existence may mark the start of an individual's fall to damnation. The human survivors of conflicts with the demonic were invariably confronted by the agents of the Inquisition and mind-wiped, quarantined for life, enforced labor camps, or even in extreme cases, made the subjects of a worldwide exterminatus event. Over the eons, the galaxy has witnessed warp-based catastrophes and demonic incursions beyond counting. Since the inception of the Inquisition after the Horus Heresy, even the fact that such a thing is possible is deemed too dangerous for the citizens of the Imperium to know, for such knowledge breeds heresy as surely as a fly-blown corpse breeds maggots. Because of this, the vast majority of knowledge concerning demonic incursions has been eradicated from extant Imperial public records. What is known is recorded only in proscribed Imperial texts and heretical xenos scripts that the Inquisition has yet to destroy. However, in the wake of the opening of the Great Rift at the start of the Era Indomitus, this policy of secrecy has been somewhat relaxed, at least for the Adeptus Astartes, due to necessity. Before the opening, the vast majority of Astartes were expected to be as ignorant about the existence of demons as any other citizen of the Imperium. In truth, it was hard to find an Astartes who had not fought demons by the end of the 41st millennium, and yet the Inquisition at the time of ending was well known to mind-wipe entire chapters after certain incidents, though not every chapter was willing to submit. Some, like the Space Wolves, resisted any intrusion on their traditional autonomy forcefully. But in the era Indomitus, with the galaxy now riven in half by the birth of the Cicatrix Maledictum, demonic incursions are so common and Space Marine responses so necessary that suppressing the knowledge of the existence of demons among the Astartes has simply become pointless.